In this video, we are going to go through very basic of DAX function. We will see how you can write your own DAX function if you have no knowledge about it. All of that and more. So let's get started. Hi, my name is Ramesh and welcome to my Power BI World channel. On this channel, I cover best practice when working with Power BI. There is new video every day that I upload on this channel. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. What we will see in this video is introduction to DAX, type of DAX function that are mainly used in our day-to-day life, and the context awareness about DAX. So when writing a DAX, what are the contexts that we will have to keep in consideration? So what is DAX? DAX is a data analysis expression and is collection of library of functions and expressions that help in creating custom formulas in Power BI. Okay. So this is the definition about DAX. So in a simple term, if I want to explain you, DAX is a collection of functions and operators that can be used in a formula to calculate and return one or more values. Okay. So DAX is basically a function which help us create our custom formula so that we get the required output that we were looking for. Okay. So DAX can perform a variety of calculations on the data set that we upload in Power BI. So this is basic about DAX. DAX is simple because it is built on a unique concept, but it is difficult to learn because it takes time to understand and apply the logic that we want. Okay, so that is the reason everyone says DAX is simple, but it is not easy. Okay, so let's move further. Let's see what are the contexts that are used in DAX. So DAX is a context aware, meaning it takes into the account the context in which a formula is being evaluated. Okay, which includes row context and filter context, which are essential for creating a dynamic and flexible calculation. So basically, whenever you are creating a DAX function, it is necessary to take context as a consideration in creating a DAX function. So it can be a row context or it could be a filter context. Now, what do you mean by a row context or a filter context? That we are going to see in our coming videos. So to give you an example, row context refers to the current row that is being evaluated in your formula. Okay. So whenever we are creating calculated column or whenever we are creating measures or a DAX function, if we take row context as a consideration, what that formula or that function will do is it will iterate over each and every row to give us the desired output. That is what a row context is. Filter context is basically a set of filters that are applied when we are creating our DAX functions. Okay. So we will see a row context and a filter context in deep when we create some dynamic calculations. Okay. Now let us go and see how we can write a DAX in Power BI. So before we go and write DAX in Power BI, with the help of below example, we will understand how to write a DAX in Power BI. Okay. So basically there are three fundamentals to write a DAX. The very first one is your syntax. Syntax is basically how the formula is written in Power BI or a formula is written. Second one is your function. The function is nothing but the formula that we are going to use to perform the calculations. And the third one is your context. It could be a row context. It could be a filter context. So context in which the formula is evaluated. Okay. As we have seen in our previous slide, we have to give the context whether the formula should iterate each and every row or there should be a filter that needs to be applied. Okay. So these are the three main fundamental concepts while writing a DAX. Okay. So let us create a very simple DAX function where I want to know the total sales. So there is a very simple syntax to create the total sales. The syntax is sum and the column name. Okay, so this is the DAX that can create a total sales. So let me explain you how this works. A that is the name of your measure, that is the total sales. B is equal to sign, that is, that sign indicates the beginning of the formula. C is my function, that is, I am using the sum function, the aggregation function to get the total sales. D is my table name or the data that is associated in Power BI. And E is the column name. So the column name that I'm referring to is the sales column. Okay, so this is how you can write a DAX in Power BI. So now let us go to the Power BI desktop and create this simple DAX function in order to get the required output. So I am into Power BI desktop, and on the right hand side, if you can see, there is a sample data set that is uploaded in Power BI. Okay, let me go to the table view and show you the data. This is how the data looks like. As we want to calculate the total sales, what I'm going to do is take this sales column into consideration and get the total sales. Okay, let me go to the report view. Let me take this sales column here. Let me convert this to a card visual, and I can get the sales in this way as well. Okay, I don't want this. I want to create a measure so that I can use it every time or anytime whenever it is required. Okay, so to do so, what I'll do is I'll just click on new measure. Now, once I click on new measure, you can see it is giving me a toolbar to write the formula. Now, let me just increase the size for you a bit. Okay, now it is showing as measure. So the very first point is I want to rename this measure. So I'll rename this as total sales. Then comes my equals to sign, wherein this is where it refers that your formula begins here. Third option comes in the function. So I'm going to use the sum function, and you see it gives you the column name. It is asking you for the column name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click on this sample dataset sales column, close the bracket and commit to this formula. So once I click on this commit to this formula, you can see on the right hand side, there is a measure which has created which says total sales. Let me bring that here. Let me bring that into a card visual. And you can see I got the same number when I just took this sales column here. Okay. So the question comes here is, if I'm getting the same value by taking this column, why should I create the formula? The reason for that is now the data set is very small, or the performance of Power BI is good. But when the data set increase, when you have millions of rows, then it impacts the performance. So the best practice is just create the measures which does not impact the performance of your Power BI. Okay. So that is the main reason wherein instead of taking the column directly into your graphs or the visualization, create some measures. If it is possible, create measures and bring that into your visualizations so that the performance of your Power BI does not impact. Okay. So this is how you can create the DAX in Power BI. Okay. Now let us go back to our presentation and see the types of DAX. Okay, so the type of DAX function. So there are more than 14 plus types of DAX functions in Power BI. However, we are just going to look 8 types of DAX which are frequently used in Power BI. So if you can see the list, we will see aggregation functions. We will see date and time functions. We will see time intelligence, filter, logical, table, text, and some other functions that are mainly used in Power BI in our day-to-day life. Okay. So yes, that's all about in today's video. Hope you like this video. Please comment below and subscribe to our channel. Have a great day.